opened his eyes, the first thing that came to mind was, where am I? The room was empty, clean, smooth walls without any marks, without cracks, without windows. He sat up abruptly, his heart pounding in his chest. The air was heavy, there was no smell, no movement. It seemed to him that he was locked in a box, completely isolated from the world. He looked around. The room was completely white, flat. There was no furniture, no switches, no ventilation, there was nothing. But the worst thing, there was no door. Panic rose from within. He stood up, walked along the walls, running his hands over the smooth surface. Hello? Anyone? His voice did not echo. It was as if the sound simply disappeared. He did not remember how he ended up here. The last thing he remembered was that he was at home. Then, emptiness. And now he was here, in this dead space. And with every second, the feeling of horror only grew. He walked around the room, running his hands along the walls, but found no way out. The smooth, cold surface did not give in. The air was static, as if there was no movement in this place. It seemed to him that he was locked in a box, and soon he would be left without oxygen. He sat down on the floor, trying to calm down, but something was wrong. He raised his head, and his heart sank with fear. The walls came closer. Just a little, almost imperceptibly, but he felt it. The space became a little smaller, the oppressive feeling intensified. He jumped to his feet. "Hey, let me out!" Silence. But the room was shaking, not physically, but with something invisible, as if he was inside a living organism that was preparing to swallow him. He panicked, began to hit the walls. But the walls silently contracted, quietly, slowly, but inexorably. The air became denser, as if someone was squeezing it out of the space. Fear turned to despair. And then he understood. He wasn't supposed to wake up here. He wasn't supposed to be aware of this place, and now it was righting the wrong. The walls were closing in faster and faster. He felt the space disappearing, the air growing heavy, his own body pressing on itself. He punched the walls, screamed, tried to tear the white smooth surface apart, but it didn't give in. The walls were soft and hard at the same time, as if they didn't really exist, as if it was an illusion. But he was part of that illusion, and now it was righting the wrong. One last breath, one last step back, and the walls closed in, not with a thud, not with a crash. They just swallowed him up, as if he'd never existed. At that same moment, in another place, in another house, on another street, in the corner of the room where there had been nothing before, a new white door appeared. No one knew that behind it was an empty white room, without windows, without doors, waiting for the next person.